Today I'm going to give you a tour of my course, Mathematics for the Automotive Professional. I'm going to share with you my 10 design elements I've used to create this course. 1. Include instructions. So here from the home page, which was where the students will be taken to when they access the course, little information about how to contact me, where they can find me, my phone number, and such. And here is a link to the welcome message. Once they get to the welcome message, they find a little information about what the course is about, how the course operates, how an online class operates. And in addition, down here we have information for their first 4 steps in the course. And then down here, a audio welcome message from me as well. Number 2. User-friendly navigation. So one thing that we're going to do is make sure that the students can navigate the course easily. So from the modules, everything is laid out in order. As I work these modules through, the students are prevented from accessing modules until they've completed the previous objective. So for section 1, module 1, they have to view the learning outcomes. Then they have to view the lessons. Then they have to access each practice exercise, achieving a minimum score on each one before they can progress to the next one. Once they've completed all the module practice quizzes, they'll progress to the discussion board where they can reflect and share with their fellow students. And then they can take the final assessment to show what they've learned. In addition, you'll notice that the menu items over here in gray are areas that the students cannot access independently. They must go through the modules in order to access them. This keeps students from trying to access things that they may want to access, but getting into them out of order and then wondering why they aren't able to access them. So this kind of forces students to work through the modules in the way I've set up the course. Organize content in a logical order based on objectives. If I go to the syllabus, I can look at the course objectives, which are right here, the student learning outcomes. And we can see addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, decimals, measurements, conversions, and then we move on to the higher order displacements, gear ratios, repair orders. And if we go back to modules, we can see module 1 starts with fractions, module 2 starts with decimals, and then we get into 3, which is percentage, 4 gets into measurements, 5 gets into ratios, proportions, 6 gives us efficiencies, volumes, horsepower, 7 uses graphs, and then finally 8 gets into repair orders. So it follows the learning outcomes in a logical order. Clear and measurable learning objectives. So if we move back to, say, Module 2, let's look at Module 2's learning objectives, which are here at the very beginning of each module. The first thing you see is the learning outcomes, where we can see the objectives for the course, the objectives for the particular module, the topics that are going to be covered in this module, the formative or the instructional content that they're going to use in this module to learn the material, and then finally the assessment they'll have for this module. This is at the beginning of each module to steer the student through the module. Clearly divide the instructional content using color, borders, and white space. So let's go back to Module 2, Lessons. Here we're taken to the Lessons page, which gives us a little bit of information on the introduction to Module 2, with additional pages devoted to short sections. And this breaks the information down into smaller sections for those students using mobile devices, so they're not trying to access all the information in one screen. In addition, we have some videos, and then we have some online learning games down here that they can access to give them additional information. Also, for those people on mobile devices, we have identified the ones that are not accessible on a mobile device, say a smartphone or tablet. So let's access addition of decimal fractions. And here we have a short video followed by some instructional content. You can see the space here to kind of break things up. In addition, we've kind of broken it up on different pages. Write content at a reading level that is appropriate. Again, the content is at a reading level that is accessible to students. We've spelled out the numbers as opposed to giving them numerical numbers to make it clear that what the number is. Let's see. Present content through realistic scenarios. So most of what we use is word problems in their questions. So for instance, in addition to decimal fractions, let's take a preview of. So here, instead of just asking them to add the decimals together, we're giving them realistic scenarios such as they're purchasing oil, polish, and a polish cloth. In addition, we're using graphics to help engage the learners, which is number 8 in our list. You can see here we've got a picture of the motor oil, a picture of the polish, and a picture of the cloth, so it gives a visual representation of what the actual question is asking. And as we go down to the next one, here we can show them what the question is asking. We're talking about the diameter of a piston, the oversized diameter of the piston, and here we have a picture of a person using a micrometer to measure the actual diameter. And again, each question has some sort of visual aid to correspond with it. Number 9, tailor feedback to provide meaningful content. So once the quiz is completed and we submit the quiz, we can see that, oh, the question is wrong. So here's a little information. Hey, let's remember to line up our decimal points. Maybe that'll help you out. Again, remembering to line up the decimal points. So we can see there's some feedback here. As we look, let's look at another quiz as well. Let's go to Module 3. And let's look at profit, loss, and commissions. And again, we have, visual representations, help identify what's going on. And let's submit this and see what the feedback says. So here we have a formula to help identify how the student should be completing the problem. And again, these are the types of feedback that the student will be given at the end of each quiz that they take. In addition, some will direct them back to learning modules. Number 10, post-test questions that are relevant to the objectives. So each of these questions, again, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division of decimal fractions relates back to the objective for the course. So if we go back to Module 3, we can look at the learning outcomes for Module 3. And we can see use fractions, decimals, and percentages in automotive measurement and finance. So we just saw the use of it in finance. And they were using decimals and percentages in that one there. In addition, if we go to Module 3 Final, you will see their final assessment is going to be based on the exact same questions they had before. So again, we have a similar question of number of jobs and comeback rate, percentage of evaporation, a raise in wages, and these are all exactly the same questions with different values that they've seen in the practice exercises. So if they can complete the practice exercises and understand how they completed it, then the final assessments will use the same questions and they should be able to understand those as well. So these are my 10 design elements I've used in my course, and we've taken almost 10 minutes to do so, which is twice as long as I should, but this is where we're at. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.